Hello, welcome to another episode of 52 Movies and the very last one. So today I wanted to talk about 3 different movies that I watched recently, and they're all pretty new. So let's get started. So the first one is Ghostbusters Afterlife. This movie felt like a mix between A Quiet Place, Halloween 2018, and Stranger Things. It had the eeriness of A Quiet Place, the jump scares of Halloween 2018, and a young cast going on adventures just like Stranger Things. The main cast are mostly children, and we also have an actor in common with Stranger Things. It involves some adults, but most of the runtime is spent on the children, and this is a very interesting trend I see a lot of lately, where the main cast of very popular movies and TV shows are children. I don't know, it's very interesting. Anyways, this movie was a lot of fun, and I would totally watch it again. The next movie we'll be talking about is Tick, Tick, Boom. But before I talk about it, I want to tell you to go watch this movie. If it impacts you as much as it did me, it is so worth it. It is available on Netflix if you have it, or I'm sure you can rent it somewhere. I don't know where, but yeah, it's on Netflix, and just go watch it before you watch this review. Of course, I'm not going to have that many spoilers, but it's so good. It is probably the second best movie I've watched this year, I want to say. Like, it was just so, it was so good. This movie musical is about composer and playwright Jonathan Larson in the days leading up to his 30th birthday, while he's also writing his musical titled Superbia. This whole movie is about Larson trying to become a composer and playwright while also having to balance all the other aspects of his life. During the film, we watch him pitch his musical and land a workshop to have his musical be seen by very important people in the business, all the while suffering from writer's block as he struggles to write the most important musical number in the whole production. The tension continues to build as he messes up all the relationships in his life, and the day before the workshop, he still hasn't written a single note or a single lyric of this song. This all piles up until he finds inspiration during a night swim. Beyond just the surface level of the story, this movie is about life. It is about the anxiety of choosing a career that is risky, about getting older and not being as accomplished as your peers. It's about expectations and the feeling of running out of time, about sickness and how it robs you of the time that you thought you had. It's about the ticking of the clock of life. This movie is a tragedy as much as it is a musical. This is one of the most creative movie musicals I've seen in a very long time. It was funny, entertaining, sad, thought-provoking, and beautiful. I enjoyed every single second and cried like a baby when it was over. So I recommend this movie so much. Go watch it now. And if you don't like crying during movies, I'm sorry, but go watch this anyways. Like, I went into this and I didn't expect to cry as much as I did, but oh my gosh, I don't regret it at all. I mean, it was so emotionally heart-wrenching, but like, the movie was so good, that doesn't deter me, like, I might go watch it again if that makes sense. Oh my gosh, do I like to torture myself? Maybe. I think everybody should go watch this movie. I don't see enough people talking about it, and it's one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. It was so freaking good, and it had Andrew Garfield in it. Who doesn't love Andrew Garfield? Come on, go watch it. Just trust me, the cry is worth it. I don't regret it at all, and I bawled like a baby when it was over, so that's saying something. I don't like crying, so if I can get over that, then you can too. Go watch it. So the last movie we'll be talking about as it rains outside is Afterlife of the Party. This movie is about a party girl who dies and has to come back as a ghost to fix everything that she left unfinished. So she has unfinished business. And we've seen this before. It's a very familiar plot, but I mean, it's cute enough, So this part of the review is going to be a little bit jumbled because I wrote a lot of notes, but it's not like very concise. So I hope that's okay. I'm running out of time of 2021, so we gotta get this over with. I'm filming this on New Year's Eve, So this movie made me cry a little bit towards the end, and that was totally unexpected because this is not a movie that would normally make me cry. But I did watch this movie the day after I watched Tick, Tick, Boom, so I was probably still a little bit emotionally raw. Not only that, but for most of the runtime, I felt like this movie was very cheesy and cliche, almost like a Disney Channel original, but not for kids specifically. And that's not always a bad thing. There are some Disney Channel original movies that I quite enjoy, but it was just not something I would ask for from a Netflix original. So it was also surprising because for a while now I felt like Victoria Justice was kind of trying to separate herself from her childhood career and her days at Nickelodeon, and rightfully so. You know, if you grow up, you don't want everybody to expect the same things from you as they did when you were a kid. That's normal. And she's in her mid-20s, so I understand her wanting to go for more mature roles. But this felt like a step back from that. It was just really interesting. So now let's talk about the plot. The plot was very unoriginal. I felt like they were able to make it their own, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I've seen this movie 100 times before. So let me just list a couple of movies that I felt had very similar plots to this. The first one is Teen Spirit, which is just She's All That but with a dead girl. And instead of losing a bet, if the loser doesn't become prom queen, the bet maker will have to go to hell. Seems a little melodramatic to me. I don't really know how much the title of prom queen really holds up in heaven, but I digress. The second one is Just Like Heaven. She's in a coma. She's not really dead, but it's the same concept. And the last one is Christmas Cupid. It's Christmas and a dead girl has unfinished business on Earth. So those are all the ones that I could think of at the top of my head that have very similar plots, but that's a lot of movies. So I don't have much to say about this movie. It was sweet. It was silly. It was a little bit immature too. So yeah, it was just kind of there. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like the best movie I've seen either. So, I mean, if you're looking for something, and I say this a lot, but if you're looking for something to play in the background, this might be your movie. Also, as a side note, and this may not make sense unless you've seen this movie, but I found it weird that the dad automatically knew that it was Cassie that was trying to help him. And in this movie, Cassie had been dead for a year, I think, at that point. So it's not like she just died, you know? She's been gone a full year and hasn't done any of this stuff before. I just don't know how he come to that conclusion. There was one point where Cassie comes into his house and rearranges his furniture. And personally, I would have come to the assumption that it was maybe like a break and enter situation. I mean, that doesn't make sense either because they wouldn't like rearrange your furniture. So I don't know what I would have thought, but I would not have come to the conclusion that it was my dead daughter, you know? She can also pick things up, which is very weird because she's supposed to be some sort of like spirit or ghost or whatever. And, you know, I guess there's those, what they call them, poltergeists? Is the poltergeist the ones that pick up stuff? Anyways, I guess there are some ghosts that can do that, but I don't know, it was just weird to me. There's also the she's special cliche in this movie. She can do things that other undead people cannot. She can talk directly to her best friend, which has never been done before for some reason. This whole trope, cliche, whatever, is just very overdone, but this movie couldn't have worked without it. So yeah, that was my review of Afterlife of the Party. And that's the end of 52 movies. It was a very long and strenuous journey, but we got here. We're done. And I would have done a lot of things differently, but it is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'm glad that you joined me on this journey. And I'm going to do a wrap-up video of all of my reviews very soon, hopefully. And it'll probably be after the new year as I'm recording this on New Year's Eve. So I will see you then. Bye.